Originally, I was meant to compete against Davi at 66 no-gi. At the beginning of the year and at the end of last year, I was walking around at like 68, 69, 70, so 66 made a lot of sense. Yeah, just over the year, I've obviously picked up a little bit of size. I spent about 4 months not training, just due to injuries and some sicknesses, and during that time I was focusing heavily on strength training and just getting my health back. So now the reality is that I'm a bit heavier now, so to get down to 66 is not impossible, but it would undo all the work I've done through the year to get healthier and stronger. So when I withdrew from the fight, I said I still want to compete against Davi, but I can't do it at 66, I have to do it at 70. So when I spoke to the guys at Sub Kings, basically I said to Al that I can either put up my 70 kg gi title, or we can do a combat match, because the 70 kg no-gi title, JP's already got that title, and Reese is obviously an interim champion as well, so they still need to resolve that thing. So because I withdrew from 66, I offered him either option. You can either take the gi title fight, or we can do a combat jiu-jitsu title fight. And he came back and basically said he was keen to do the combat jiu-jitsu because he found it very interesting. So I think it was the right decision to let him choose, since he didn't withdraw from 66. I did, so I just put the ball in his court, and that's what he decided.
How different is it now getting ready for CJJ as opposed to a normal no-gi matchup?
It's quite a bit different. I'm fortunate enough that Rich is one of the best minds in the game when it comes to like ground and pound and mixed martial arts. So he's obviously directing the camp in a specific way. I don't want to like give too much information regarding it, but basically a lot of guys go in there and they just have a grappling match with combat jiu-jitsu rules, and I don't think that's what we're looking for. We're looking for an authentic combat jiu-jitsu match, something that has a massive submission grappling element, but utilizing strikes as well through the whole game. But yeah, it is significantly different, but I'm very confident that with my experience in MMA and with the current direction of the camp, that we'll be well prepared for the combat jiu-jitsu match.
Davi has had his eyes on you since you beat Vlad. How did you feel hearing his call out?
Yeah, it makes sense. I obviously beat Vlad, and Davi being Vlad's student, he obviously wants to run that back for the 2P brand, and I understand that. I don't think there's any ill feelings towards each other. Davi's always been very nice and respectful to me, and I think it's just trying to get one back for the 2P brand in his mind. And for me, our team, we thrive on taking the toughest matches, So when I decided to compete again, Vlad was the best gi guy that I could find to compete against. He had beaten a lot of the best guys locally, and he'd obviously medaled at World Masters, so that was the toughest gi match I could take. Outside of JP, who's my teammate, I'm not going to compete against him. Davi's the toughest match at lightweight, and he's also the featherweight champion. So yeah, it just made sense for me to look for that match. We were scheduled to compete at the beginning of the year, but last year November I broke a bone in my foot and I tore a ligament in my foot, and that took about 4 months in total between the rehab phase, and I re-injured it later in the year. So the first 5 months of the year was pretty much a write-off for me. But now that I'm healthy and I'm fit again, it makes sense to now do that match again. I obviously had the Reese match in June on short notice. Wasn't ideal, but yeah, that was kind of like getting me back into competing again. And then I've had a couple of matches since then, and now obviously this is the big one, at the end of the year to cap it all.
still carries the boogeyman stigma?
I definitely think W carries the boogeyman stigma. You know, he obviously lost the match against JP, and that was a highly technical match. I know a lot of people don't appreciate how technical that match was. What they don't realize is that at such a high level, when you're two high-level grapplers, there's a lot happening in like the inches of movement between them. And I thought that match was phenomenal. JP obviously pulled through in the overtime and won the title, but I don't think it's made Davi any less dangerous. I think he's still the boogeyman technically. There's obviously, we've identified a way in submission grappling how to beat him, and I think we've got a fairly decent idea in combat jiu-jitsu how to beat him as well. But yeah, I think if you give him a gap, you're going to be in a lot of trouble. You have to make sure that your game's tight, and have to have a proper strategy when competing against them.
What do you make of him as an opponent?
I think Davi poses a lot of like significant risks that I've had to obviously adapt my game to counter. I think that he's obviously a very explosive guy. He likes to explode onto that straight ankle, the belly down straight ankle. He's got a couple of wins with triangles. He's got a very dangerous close guard. So from my side, obviously I need to take note of those things and address those elements in his game. But I think I also pose quite a few threats to him in my game. And I think where we do really well is strategy. I don't think anyone comes close to us when it comes to strategy for grappling, combat jiu-jitsu, gi jiu-jitsu. Doesn't matter what the style is. I think strategy is always key when you're competing against us. So I think we have the right strategy to beat him. I think that my game is well suited to him. And as long as I stick to the game plan, I think we'll walk away with the victory.
Cool. Do you feel like you hold an advantage in terms of CJJ with an MMA background?
I think I do hold an advantage in the combat jiu-jitsu realm. I think when I started martial arts, I started in mixed martial arts. I never went to a traditional martial arts background originally. I started martial arts in 2009, and I went straight into grappling and striking for mixed martial arts. I've never known grappling without striking. So yeah, I think I hold an advantage there. But at the same time, I don't really know Davi's full background. There's a good possibility that he's pretty strong at combat jiu-jitsu. So I'm not going to rest on the fact that I've got this experience advantage over him. I'm preparing for someone that's good at submission grappling, or pretty good at submission grappling and pretty good at combat jiu-jitsu. And yeah, I think that we've covered all bases from our side. And yeah, hopefully we can display like beautiful jiu-jitsu and beautiful submission grappling while being in the combat jiu-jitsu realm.
Second last question. What do you think changes fundamentally when you add some strikes into the equation?
Well, I think with combat jiu-jitsu, one of the main elements is stalling. You know, like you don't really have a position to stall in. If someone's trying to pin you to the mat and they're getting hit from the bottom or from the top, doesn't matter where, you know, it forces movement in the positions. It also, you know, if guys get carried away with striking, it also opens up opportunities to jump onto submissions and that. So I think there is fundamental elements of combat jiu-jitsu that change the way you grapple, right? But you also can't get sloppy with the combat jiu-jitsu because yeah, it will make you quite vulnerable to being attacked.
What would people say they can expect from you on December 6th?
Well, you know, every time I grapple, I feel like I show a little different element of my game. You know, when I competed against Vlad, you saw butterfly ashi, straight ankle locks. When I competed against Reese, you saw like false reap entries and choi bars. I did ADCC earlier this year. You saw some outside ashi, outside heel hooks. Then did submission king 16. You saw close guard action, inverted triangles, kimuras, straight arm locks. You know, like for me, I always like to bring something new to every match. And I think you can expect to see a different style from me at WTA10. I think that everyone's seen a lot of my bottom game. You'll see a little bit of my top game now. We've got some decent surprises in terms of how we're going to attack different positions in combat jiu-jitsu. So yeah, I think you're going to see a different style of grappling come December 6th.